A few years ago, I began a new spiritual journey. Raised a Christian, but tired of my confusion and denying my gifts, I decided to take a new path of discovery and internal growth. Along the way, one thing I realized was how many others are in a similar place in their lives, knowing there's more, but stuck in their own conditioning or doubt. So I started this podcast as a way of vocalizing the things I was learning, a way to discover the world of spirituality and see if I'm right, that things are not as different as we've been told, that it's all connected and the universe is so much bigger than we knew. I want to be your bridge out of the chaos to help you see new things, to get unstuck, and maybe even find your purpose and your path. To be honest, there'll be days that there's no telling what we'll talk about here, but it'll always be fun and a chance to learn something as we move through the chaos and cross the bridges between what you think you know and what you think you don't. I'm Heather, this is Ballyhoo Bridge, and I hope you'll come along for the ride with me. So welcome back, everybody. I'm really excited about this episode today. I'm always excited about the episodes, but they're always fun to me. But today, my beautiful friend Spring is back, and I'm so excited. She wants to talk about intention work, and especially around spell casting, which I know I struggle with this. I think a lot of, I guess you would call them beginner. I hear baby witch, but some people don't like that. Beginner witch. We don't know what we're doing, Spring. We just don't know what we're doing.
It's actually like a huge rant for me because I'm like, you're a witch. You throw some crap in a bowl and you shake it up and call it good. But I don't think a lot of times people don't realize that it's your intention. That's where your power's at. Your power's in your intention. So if something inspires you, like we did when one of our moon circles recently, I decided I no longer wanted to be in the matrix, the current matrix we were in. I no longer wanted to be a part of that. And I set the intention to change my freaking life. Like that wasn't going to be me. I wasn't going to be part of a recession. I wasn't going to be part of corrupt politicians. I wasn't going to have any part of any of that current matrix. I was just going to step out of it and live in a different world. And so for doing my spell work for that, I spent a lot of time. Now your spell will not have any power if you don't put any intention behind it.
Okay.
It's like an empty prayer. You know, you're sitting here, if you just light a candle and be like, oh, I want this. But if you don't take the time and actually think, this is the intention I want. And the more emotion you put into it, even if it's anger, if it's resentment, or any of that, any of those emotions are going to give that spell more power.
Okay.
So in my case, I wanted to get out of the matrix. So I did not do any spell jars. Like I love spell jars. They're like one of my favorites. And that is just taking things that we recently had a friend want to do a freezer spell. In that case, like one of the things that would have been is like his picture. And now if you want to freeze somebody from bothering you, you never want to do anything that's going to actually mess with that person, but you can protect yourself. And so in her case, she should have taken a picture of his face. And this is what I would have done. I'm going to say his name. I'm going to say Dan. I don't even know what his real name is, but I'm going to call him Dan because I thought freeze Dan sounds like a good thing. So you're gonna take his picture and you're gonna put it in a jar and you're gonna freeze it, like freeze his head, right? So he can no longer mess with your head. And you're gonna set the intention as you're doing it that you're like, you are no longer gonna affect me. I will no longer be affected by the words that come out of your mouth and the love bombing that you do. I will not be affected by this. And you fill that full of water and imagine sealing him in there. But you're using all your intentions that you're just imagining him completely sealed in there, and then freeze his ass, put him in your freezer. And I'd put it where you could see Dan, frozen Dan. That's Dan. Exactly how I would do it.
Well, and that lends to the do no harm thing that, you know, because it's not about doing harm to him. It's about, it's almost like you're just making your boundary stronger,
Exactly. And
you
as long
know?
as, and it's whatever is inspiring to you. Like if you wanted to um stop stop his lies, you could go get thorns because thorns are pokey and banishing, any, and cut them from your rose bush, shove them in there. Just anything that you see around your house that reminds you of him or reminds you of your weakness considered with him, you could throw that in there. And there are no rhymes or reasons behind it. It's simply what it means to you. So like what I would do wouldn't necessarily be the same as what you would do.
Right.
And then in order for that spell to work, you need to take tiny steps every single day living with that spell. So like when I wanted out of the matrix, I sat down the next day and I said, okay, well, how do I get away from the recession? Like, what am I going to have to do to get away from that? Oh, well, I'm going to have to make more money. And I was like, well, how much more money? Well, a fuck ton of money. That's what I have to do in order to get out of this recession. And
Yeah.
so I sat down and I gathered my resources. And I said, okay, so what do I have? Well, I have a magazine and it's not doing well. Amazon recently increased our pricing like by a lot and took it out of our royalties. So now I pay to go to work. And
Nice.
yeah, so now I'm like, at that same exact moment when I'm trying to step out of this matrix, I'm facing with, do I close the magazine down or do I treat it now as a hobby that now costs me money? And so I realized the magazine was not a resource. Like that's not a resource. That's not going to work for me to make more money at. And so I was going through everything I could do. Well, I could do the stock market and I make a ton of money day trading meme stocks. And so I was like, I'm kind of good at that. Let me see what I could do. So I decided to take $1 and see how far I could grow $1 in a month. So every day you want to make tiny little steps. You set the intention that I have decided to step out of this matrix. I have decided to do this. This is what I have to do. So I have to take one step every single day to do something. So I started getting books on stock market investing. I started watching YouTubes and, educating all these things because this is part of my spell. This is part of setting my intention that I was going to have a brand new life. So then in the meantime, I was given a chunk of moldavite, which is
Oh,
really funny, right? So now I have the moldavite there and I have the moldavite every day. And I'm like, okay, little moldavite, what are we going to do today that we're going to do this? So my $1 very quickly turned into $200 before the end of the month.
nice.
And then I had one trade that went to $1,100 that day. And then I had another trade that went to $400 on the next day. And I just kept investing it until I got enough saved up and learned about trading in futures, which is another form of the stock market. But it also is a way that I'm on set to hit $1 million by December 24th
Oh my gosh.
by
That's
just doing
insane.
mini growing. I set a goal that I would grow 2% a day. Like every day I have to grow 2% by compounding interest. And it's growing. It's just growing, but it's growing because I did that spell. I set that damn intention and I have never veered from it. I haven't one day thought, okay, I'm not going to do this. No, every single day, me and my Moldavite sit down and we figure out what we're going to do and we take those action steps. We set those intentions and we move right along and we don't.
Okay. We probably need to stop and explain to people what moldavite is and why it's a thing.
Okay, so I didn't believe in Moldavite. So Moldavite is a form of a tektite. A tektite is basically an extraterrestrial rock. So what happens, and there's actually a whole write-up in the summer issue of River House Witch magazine of 2023. There's a whole section explaining moldavite and tektite and all of that. But I'll run through it real quick. So when a meteor hits our ground, it causes an impact. It's so hot that the debris on the ground actually goes up into the atmosphere. And as it cools, it comes down and it forms a type of glass. Now it has pieces of the meteor and it has pieces of our ground. And so it's a mixture of an extraterrestrial rock with our earth rocks. And it creates this tektite. Now they are tektites from all over the world. One of them happened to land in the Chesapeake Bay where I live. They had one that landed in the Columbia, which is the Columbianite. Get one of those. Zen Light Energy is on Etsy, is where I got mine. They're amazing. They look like a rock. You shine a light through them and they're see-through like glass. I absolutely love the Columbian light tektites. Same exact power as a moldavite. Now the moldavites landed in Molvania, which is in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Is it Ukraine?
Oh, I don't remember.
It's on the Moldova River.
Okay.
And that created a green one. Now everybody puts that one with more powerful with that. The problem with that is you have to really make sure that you go through a legit reseller. About 90% of them on the market are fakes.
Aw.
Yeah. And I mean, it's so bad that the Art Deco Museum in Perugia, I think it was Perugia. Anyway, they found out half of their display items were fake.
Oh no.
So,
No.
so there's a lot of fakes on the market. They have been fakes since the 1800s. So they have mastered a fake moldavite. And it's no different than a regular tektite. But when I reached out to Zen Light Energy, her name's Donna,
Okay.
and I told her I was writing an article on tektites, she actually sent me a huge collection. She gave me like 3 different types. And then she threw a moldavite in there, which is what started this mess. And I've always wanted to avoid moldavite because I thought I am too old and I'm too tired to go on a moldavite journey. But
moldavite will kind of amplify or spring you forward. I mean, I know it scares some people because they say they get one and then all these bad things start happening. But I find when I got mine, I just sprang forward and things just started moving really fast.
Yeah, and a lot of things will come to an end if they're blocking you. So like at the exact same moment, I found out that the magazine isn't making money. And so now I started looking at other avenues for income because I was like, okay, well, this isn't going to work as a job now. This way, I'm going to have to raise the cost up so much. And I personally would tell anybody, because I'm really big into finance and economics and, not spending money. I have owned 4 houses in my life. I bought my first house in my early 20s, and I've never, I paid rent once when I moved to Virginia because I wasn't sure I was going to live here. I have owned my own house continuously and paid cash for them or paid them off. This is the longest, the 5 years I've had this house is the longest I've ever owned a mortgage.
Wow.
So I am adamant that you use your money wisely. And so when I tell people, oh, I got a $15 magazine, I don't want you to pay $15 for my magazine. That is the worst $15 you'll ever spend. So I'm just like, that's a huge waste of money. And so I now have to find another way. Like, if am I going to go strictly digital? Am I going to come out once a year? But the moldavite came in and like messed the magazine up, like skidding halt to the magazine at that point, where the next issues are still coming out, but I'm going to have to totally do something different because I don't want people paying that amount of money for a magazine.
Which
I
is
think your money's
kind.
better somewhere else.
I
Well,
mean,
I
I
would
think
much
it's worth
rather
it, but
I will tell you how to invest that money and turn that money into more money. Please don't spend it on a magazine.
yeah, that probably would be better.
Right? I mean, that's a lot of money. And so one thing that I noticed while on this journey, because I started researching everything. I was just like, I don't belong in this matrix. I'm not going to live here anymore. Well, they call them the 1%ers, right? Because they have all the money, but it's not. That's not what it is. It's 1% of the people make it because they take chances.
Oh, yeah.
They take chances and make risks. And, everybody I know thinks I'm absolutely crazy right now. They're like, you're going to lose all your money. And I was like, I can't lose all my money. It's $1. I took $1 from my bank.
Yeah. So what are you losing? You're
What
losing a
am I
dollar.
losing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've grown it. I've grown it a lot. Um, and now I play the stock market every day as a day trader, which you have to have a $25,000 margin for that. But I mean, it was like my $1 has grown and grown and grown and grown and grown because I set the intention for it. I put my power, my energy into that. And I said, no, I don't belong in this. There's no recession. And to prove it, you go into the stock market, you watch the stock market, there's no recession. I was like, oh, and then this is so funny. So I've been living like there's no recession. Like I can see it in the stock market. I see my proof there's no recession. We have been going to the grocery store, buying whatever we wanted to buy. We weren't worried about finances anymore. We were just like, whatever, this is the price of things. This is what it costs. And it was fine. The bills are paid. The groceries are getting bought. Everything's fine. Everything's perfect. And then I had a rich uncle pass away and leave us money yesterday.
Oh, I'm sorry
Like I
about your
didn't even know
uncle.
I had a rich uncle.
Wow.
And I was like, I told my husband, I was like, I told you, look, once you set the intention, we have the power to be like, I did that spell. I did that spell that I was going to leave this matrix, and I've left the matrix.
Well, and part of it was your mindset too. They talk about
Mindset.
how when you envision yourself in the place that you want to be, and this is how I want to live, and so that's just how you started living.
Yeah.
And it
And that's all. You use that same premise for any spell you want to do, for any one of them. And your mindset is the most powerful thing we have.
mhm.
And when we set our intention, so if, a friend of ours sets the intention, she's going to freeze Dan, he's never going to bother her again. She starts living her life like Dan doesn't bother her anymore. Like, I'm not affected by Dan. I'm not affected by his words, his love bombing, any of this stuff. And she just starts to live that. My very first piece of advice for anybody, though, is to start working out. It doesn't matter what you're trying to accomplish, but this is something I tried. Me and my sister both went on this journey together. So we were both like really, really depressed when we took this step. We were both really depressed. We were having a conversation, and I was sitting on my floor in my sunroom, and I was like, you know what? If I die right now, I'm not suicidal, but if I die, I'm not going to be sad. And I was like, I'm just so tired. And she's like, I'm so tired. And we were both just like, I kind of want Russia to nuke me. Like, take me out, please. I'm so tired. And we were like, you know what? We need to exercise because you can't live like that. Well, what happens when you exercise is not just your endorphins, those are important too, but your lymphatic system has no pump.
Mhm.
So as you move your lymphatic fluids around in your system and you sweat and you go to the bathroom, but they won't work if you're not physically moving it. And that clears up your depression. It clears up anxiety. It clears up, it makes you feel better. So health wise, you just start to feel better. Well, your first step to making changes for anything in your life is to feel better.
Yeah, that's true.
So once you start to feel better, it opens you up and it makes you like just open to the possibilities of something else. And then I told my sister I was laying down on my weight bench pressing, when I was like, I'm going to do the stock market. And she's like, I have no idea what you just said, but I'm coming to. And so we are both set to become millionaires before Christmas.
That is amazing.
We trade together, we get on the phone, we trade together, we help, make rules for each other. We try to keep the other one in check so nobody's doing revenge trading or anything. And it's just, we taught ourselves how to use the future market. We taught ourselves how to read all of the charts and how to do candlesticking. And it wasn't long. It was less than 2 weeks, and we had figured it out and started running a simulation training. It was just, but you put yourself in that mindset. And then last weekend, I was sitting here with a group of people that mostly men that didn't, they're kind of like dense and senseless, and they don't really pay attention to anything I do, but they're family members. They all told me how pretty I looked. And I was like,
Oh,
what? I was like, my hair's the same, my makeup's the same, my everything's the same as it has been for the last decade. And they're like, no, I don't know what it is, but you look really nice. It's my goddamn mindset change. It was like, phew.
Yeah, it gives you that confidence. I
Yeah,
mean,
it just like made it to the point where I was like, I'm happy. I'm not sitting here wondering what, dictator Biden's up to or anything. I'm just happy.
that's
And
amazing.
yeah, and it all came from that spell I did that night during our moon circle.
Yeah, I remember that spell because I was like, oh, I should do one of those.
Yeah. And it started with just writing down everything that I was getting rid of, everything I wanted to call in, and went on my vision board. The first thing I did was so um, $1 for someone without a savings account. The value of that actual dollar is 2 cents,
Oh, that's depressing.
isn't it? So if you don't have a savings account, your dollar's worth 2 cents. Well, if you have $1 million, that dollar's worth $200. And if
Okay.
you're a billionaire, that dollar is worth $1,522 because that's how much money it makes them while it sits in their accounts.
Wow.
And so I took $1 and I put it on my vision board and I wrote on there, today my dollar is worth 2 cents. And then I was able to write on there, today my dollar is worth 6 cents. Today my dollar is worth $1. I was able to like make the value because my money no longer sits in a regular checking account. My
Yeah.
money is all invested into stocks and bonds and real estates and everything else. I have been researching every type of investment and taking our money and just loading it up. I actually had to buy a book that says what to do with my accounts when I'm dead because my husband is not listening to me as I'm squirreling money away. But this is happening so quickly. And whether it's the moldavite or the spells or whatever I did, our life is drastically changed within 30 days.
That is so incredible. But staying with that intention
All
was,
day, every single day. Like if you start to feel down, like today I lost a lot of money in the stock market. I did not have an up day today. And and there's going to be days you lose. Like I
yeah.
am choosing the most volatile way to make money.
So
So
that's risky. That involves
it's
risk.
risky. It's really risky. There's some days that I make, $1,000, and then there's some days where, today I lost 250. Um, So tonight I'm going to sit down and I'm going to look at condos that I want to buy for investment real estate. I'm going to also look at commercial real estate and just get myself re-excited so
Yeah.
that I have those intentions set for tomorrow and I'm not dreading tomorrow when the market opens.
Yeah. And I think that's the hardest thing to do. And when you get into, I was talking with someone about this recently that when you start getting in a negative mindset, like the friend that is trying to freeze Dan, that the days that she falls back into those routines or that comfort zone, it's really just what she's used to. It's what she's been doing for so long. So, you know, you've got to be able to find ways to catch that and to then turn it into a positive,
Right.
this behavior is no longer welcome or whatever you want to say.
Definitely.
Which is sometimes hard. I think I struggle sometimes with wording. Like, am I saying the things right when I do the spell? Am I,
It doesn't matter what
you
you
know,
say. Now, a lot of times, like a lot of people are putting a lot of stress on, oh, well, what does rosemary do? What does basil do? Now, they do carry more power, like putting salt around a protection circle. That carries a lot of collective energy because we all collectively know that salt is good for protection. So that does have that protective. But when you're putting that intention into it, you don't have to use that collective power and you don't have to say the right wording. It doesn't have to rhyme, it doesn't have to look cute. It can simply say, I'm no longer a part of this matrix.
right,
And if you put the emotion behind it, whether it's anger, whether it's anything, like any of your emotions. So I did this was like a very intense spell that I did about year one into this current administration. And I was like so sick of the corrupt politicians. Like all of them seemed so corrupt. And I was like, every single thing you look at, there's so many lies. And I have so many friends that are just like, oh, I don't watch the news. And I'm voting this way because I'm voting for my morals. And I'm like, your morals? Do you know the people you're voting for? Like, you don't know anything about them, but you're claiming your morals. And so I wanted truth to come out. And I was talking with some other witch friends, and they're like, okay, you need urine, you need menstrual blood, you need, man, I put everything in there. And then
Wow.
I spent 4 hours driving out to the country to find a dirt crossroad to bury this crap in. but what happens now? Their lies are out everywhere. You can see, like they no longer get to lie and hide it for years at a time. They tell a lie, it's everywhere, all over the internet now.
Yeah, it's
I do
true.
that? Maybe not, but I like to think I did.
I'm sure you played a part. I feel like you're probably not the only person that
Oh, I'm
did
sure
something like
that
that.
collectively a lot of us are like, I just want their lies to be out in public.
Yeah. So how do
And
you find when you go to do a spell? Do you, I mean, I know you've been doing this for a while, but find how do you find a spell? How do you know what to do? Do you
it's
look them
what
up or?
no, because that's not where the power's at. That's somebody else's spell. That power and emotion is theirs. That's not yours. And this is where my big pet peeve is when I have people come to me, well, what do I do? I'm like, you're a damn witch. What do you think you do? it's it's what your heart's telling you. It's like, okay, uh, if you want to, let's say tomorrow I don't want to lose so much money. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go to my crystal room and I'm going to look for gold because I know that to me, gold signifies money and wealth. So I'm going to look for any of those. I know that the green bar means a really nice bull market, and I want a bull market. So I'm going to go get green, and I'm going to get my green stones, and I'm going to get some pyrite. And then I'm not a rhymer. I'm not I mean, my spells are never like, cute. They're just simple where I write my intention down and I sit with it and I feel and I put so much emotion into it. And it can be good emotion, it can be happy emotion, it can be, it can be sadness, it can be anger, any of those things. But as long as it's an emotion and you feel it, and it's whatever like signifies money, like coins signify money. So maybe put some coins in there. To you, what if you were going to do a money spell? What to you signifies money?
A lot of the things you just said, you know, probably coins, maybe throw a dollar in there or, some kind of bill in there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I think I have found that when it comes to the crystals, I'm not that great at knowing what their properties are, but things like you said, like greed or gold or, I find whatever I'm drawn to
Mm-hmm.
moment is probably
Drawn
the
to.
one I should
That's your
use.
soul. That's your little witchy soul telling you what to use.
Yeah. And I think I do the same with herbs. Like I'll go through my herb book and I'll start looking things up, but then something will generally kind of jump out at me that, you know what, I'm going to use that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's my instinct telling me,
Most
you
definitely. And
know,
that's where I want anybody who works with me, I want them to start to trust their instincts enough to say, like, okay, this is what I'm going to use in my spell. It doesn't matter if it's right, because there is no right or wrong. Like if you want to use pennyroyal in your spell for money, because penny, that's
yeah,
kind of cute.
yeah.
Penny and royal. I mean, that's fantastic. Like I would definitely add that.
I
And
guess we
I
all
don't know
probably
what the
get caught
properties
up.
are.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I don't even know what that is.
Definitely, definitely. We get caught up in it. Am I doing it right? Well, you remember, there's no witch police. No one's going to come to the door and arrest you and be like, you've been practicing witchcraft incorrectly. So we're going to have to put you away. I
We're going to
mean,
take your cauldron. No more for you.
right, no more, no more. You can't do it the right way. So the biggest thing is to make sure that you're not out there to cause harm to other people.
Yeah.
And other than that, there are no rules. You do what you want, what you feel pulled to do. And if you don't feel pulled to add some honey and molasses to a jar and just writing a simple note and saying, this is what I'm doing, and I'm putting these emotions into this note, and I'm going to burn this note. And then you're going to take those daily actions every single day. And um, I read this book this morning where he said you do 1%. Just increase yourself by 1%, no matter what you want to do. Like our friend who wants to get away from this guy, if she made changes to her life 1%, at the end of the year, she would be 37% in the different direction than where she is today.
Yeah. Just
So
that,
if
just
she just
move the
said,
needle. Just
just
move
move
the
it, just one little piece, like, so you know what, today, she's gonna go for a walk after work. Well, she's going to get her endorphins up. She's going to get fresh air into her lungs. She's going to sleep better. She's going to be less depressed. She's going to be happier. And all these things will happen just by going out for a walk. So she goes for a walk. And then let's say that she was to continue walking, and let's say she loved walking and she started doing a 5 mile walk every evening. Well, that's going to have effects on her health. It's going to have effects on her weight. It's going to have effects on her skin. So all of a sudden, she's going to look and feel amazing. And
right.
then her confidence will go up. And then some guy coming in trying to love bomb you, it's just going to bounce right off you because you're just not going to be interested in it. There's nothing about his love bombing that is going to draw you in because you're like, no, I don't even want that anymore. But thank you for the offer. And that's what
Yeah.
happens.
And then if she's feeling once you have that confidence and you've built that confidence, then the boundaries almost aren't even necessary as
They
much
are not
anymore because
necessary
she's
because
going to
you're
call him
above
what
them.
she deserves.
Right. She'll be up here, he'll be down here, and they won't even cross paths anymore.
Yeah.
Because
And
and
the right people start to come and start to be in your life because you're attracting those people, you know.
so one thing that me and my sister were talking about, so she was also in the same negative mindset I was. And she said that she doesn't have any friends. She didn't have any coworkers that like her, and she just was like in this rut where like she was completely feeling alone and isolated. And she's like, I went to a work function and I was the first person there. And I sat down at this kind of far end of the table. Well, everyone came into the room and they sat on the opposite end of the table. No one sat by her.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
said, that right there ought to show you how your negative energy can repel people. They can feel that negative energy. Well, we started this journey together about a month ago. And she has her calendar full with people saying, hey, can I come to your house and have like a glass of wine with you after work? Hey, I had so much fun working with you. Let's go do girls' night. So she's got all these things going on with the same people who refuse to sit at the table with her.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that.
It just shows you what your mindset will actually like repel people with your energy.
It's true. It's very true. And I mean, I've seen that, I've talked about this that I had issues, long hauling issues after having the virus, and it's like I was able to start exercising again, and I remember the first times I did it, I could only work out for like 10 minutes. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and I'm looking at my husband going, "What is wrong with me? I've always been athletic, I've always been in shape, I've always had all these things." But then this past year, I had to remind myself that I have a year's worth of, you know, sitting around and being sick and all the things to have to get past. And now, I'm working out longer, I'm doing harder workouts and what all, and it's really only been a few months. But when I
Right.
look back at what I could do when I started and what I can do now, it's it's kind of, it's almost night and day.
Yeah.
But it took little steps along the
Little
way
tiny
to get
baby steps.
there.
That's all you have to do. And so when you do one of these spells, just imagine little bitty baby steps every single day. And that's how your spell keeps its power. And that's how your spell will work.
Well, and I think when you're doing these, also when you're keeping this mindset, and I think some of the things that come with it sometimes is there may be some inner work that you need to do. There may be some, some healing work that you need to do on kind of that negative mindset if you're struggling.
I do believe that that's part of those one little baby steps. And
Yeah.
like like you'll notice it. I've always been great at like having habits and creating habits. And so everyone's like, oh, you need to read this book about creating habits. And I was like, that's a stupid book. I'm not reading that. Like, I don't need that. And then I ran across the book today for free and I started flipping through it and I was like, this book is so good. Like, this is so perfect. And it was so funny because, here I was thinking, oh, I'm all that, I don't need help making, but no, he talks about the 1%, which is like a huge thing for me lately because I started showing people on a graph like if you take this amount of money and you could grow it by 1%, you can hit $1 million in less than a year. And
Yeah.
that's not hard. Do you know how much I need to make every day? Right now, $20.
Oh, wow. That's it.
That's it. Right.
I mean, we blow $20 on
We blow
lunch.
it. But now that is why I'm like, I don't want people spending $15 on my magazine because if you save $15 every single day, very soon you can have a brand new life.
Let me just think, if you took one day a week and decided not to eat out that day. So you save your $15 and you bring your lunch and you took that $15 and put it in the stock market, or just put it in okay, I know you won't make as much, but I mean, just put it in a savings account, do something, then you're not going to go through that money as fast, and
Yeah.
you're going to hit those goals faster.
You'll hit those goals. And it's just like that, just that 1%. But it's so funny. It'll show you by growing by 1 or 2%. Because this chart I gave my husband, and I was like, we're gonna retire you at Christmas. This is how we're gonna do it. And I made him a chart and I said, we're gonna grow this dollar. I'm still using the same $1, the dollar, and I'm gonna grow it by 2% a day, 2%. And then by the end of the year, you can retire. We can pay off our house, you can retire, and we'll live off of our interest on our savings account, our stock money. And when I started, it was like I needed to make 48 cents that day. And then I needed to make $2.40. And then I grew it, and eventually, like now I'm up to $22. I have to make $22 today.
Okay, we're going to have to talk.
But it's just baby steps and it's so doable. And you use that same premise for any spell work you want to do. Anything. Like, if you want to start your own business or if you want to, I'm just trying to think, what do you do spells for? Give me an example.
Oh gosh, I'm usually calling something in, like I mean, I know people that they need, okay, I need money to repair my car, or I need a new car, or, a lot of it's stuff like that. I find it's all very material.
It's all material. Isn't that crazy? It's so sad.
Huh. Now, some people want to do love spells and things like that, which I
Okay, so
find
let's do
don't.
that. Let's do now. I'm always a firm believer. I say, don't do a love spell to make someone fall in love with you because no
Right.
one wants to start a marriage off with as a hostage situation. You don't want that.
Oh,
So you start off one, and I'm going to go back to that. You go exercise. Why? Because one, it makes your skin better. So
yeah.
you're going to feel better. You're going to be happier. And the only thing I changed and that people were telling me I was prettier about is I'm laughing all the time. Like I'm usually like really bitter here at home. You guys see me as I'm like happy because I put on a fake face for you guys. But normally I just like I'm so sour. I'm just a sour cuss. And like my husband's like, I have not seen you smile in like decades. And so
Aw.
now I'm like laughing and joking, and he's really serious. And so I have started saying very crude and rude things to him because it makes him like look at me shocked, and then he just busts out laughing because I've never been like that. But it's the only way I can get him to laugh. So,
Yeah.
and now I do that all the time. I'm just walking around being like laughing and giggling, and I'm just like, this is just I want to be happy, and that's what I'm doing the rest of my life is I'm just going to be happy. So every day I'm happy. But so if you're trying to draw attention and get somebody to fall in love with you or just draw anybody, like the dating pool after you're 40 is really murky. Like my sister is getting ready to turn 40 and I'm just like, stay single, dude.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
um, so what she's working on being happy. she's working. And so we work out together every day. She lives in Hawaii. We get on Zoom or we get on FaceTime, and we put phones up and we're working out together and we're laughing and joking. Her kids, she has a horrible relationship with her kids. Her kids came in and gave her a hug the other day, her teenagers, and they're like, Mom, I'm really happy that we're getting along. And
Aw.
it all started with exercise. Not because
Yeah.
I'm thinking everyone should go out and, lose weight. That's not what's going to make someone attracted to you. I am heavy set myself, and my husband's like really good looking, and everybody's like, how did you get that? And I was like, I'm cool.
Because you're
So,
amazing.
so I'm not saying that you have to be thin in order to get love. What I'm saying is that you go out and you make yourself happy, because
Yeah.
that's what people will be attracted to. They're going to be attracted to you being happy. And, like your skin gets improved by improving your lymphatic system, your emotions, your health. And so you feel so much better. You look better, you're happier. And then when you go out in public, no one's going to hear you making snide remarks. They're not going to hear you being ugly. You're going to meet somebody, you're going to smile, you're going to laugh, and they're going to be attracted to you because your energy levels, just like my sister at the table at work, you're going to have these energy levels that people just want to be around
Well,
because
and you
you've
tend to
lifted
get
yourself up.
back. I find you tend to get back what you put out too.
Yes,
Like when you're dealing with someone, I have someone in my life that's a bit of a narcissist, but I find that when I don't engage in the negativity, and when I just kind of put positive back to this person, and you know I mean, I'm not a doormat or whatever with them, but
right,
basically what I put out is just I try to be very positive and just not let myself get bogged down. And it's
exactly.
it's been a process. I have to catch myself. I have to think about what I'm saying before it comes out of my mouth, and really
This is why
I have to
crystals are
focus.
so
Yeah.
this is why crystals are good to put in your pocket.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying. Like we use our witchcraft in all these things, and it's still mindset management and all of that. But you take like a quartz crystal, a rose quartz, and
Yeah.
you put it in your pocket. And then as you're going through your day, and she starts to really get to you, you remember that rose quartz in your pocket, and you're like, no, I'm not going to engage with her. I'm not going to engage with her. I'm not going to play into this. And that's why our crystals have those powers, is because it reminds us. It works as a physical reminder to like
Yeah.
get yourself in check.
I have ones that I have when I wear every day. I have a bracelet that I wear every day to kind of absorb negativity. And the truth is, every time I look at it, I'm like, it's all fine. We're gonna let that negativity bounce off, and we're just gonna find the positive response. And like you said, I'm gonna choose to be happy, you know.
Right.
Um, something, it just came to me that you were talking about writing stuff down, and that's something I don't think people talk about enough either, is that, I remember when I was going through a really bad depression. It was after I think my dad had passed away, and it was just bad, and I was just in a really bad place. And one of the first things I actually talked to my pastor, and one of the first things he said to me was, "Have you ever done a gratitude journal?" And I was like, "No, I don't know what that is." And and I do that every day, whether it's journaling or even just saying it out loud every day, the things that I'm grateful for. And I think you'll find yourself talking about um things that you're grateful for that are kind of going the direction of what it is you're trying to do, so you but I find, showing gratitude, and you talked about writing things down, and how often have we been in a moon circle, there's something we need to release, and so we write down, this is what I want to release, this is what I want to change, this is what I want to do, and then we burn that letter and
Yeah.
send
And
it
you
back
let
out in the
it go and
universe. you
watch the
know
smoke go up, and watch it go away from you. And you're setting that intention. Now, if you take those daily steps, don't forget that part about taking those daily steps to make sure that
yes.
stuff that you've released stays out there and brings in something new that you want to attract instead. Fill that empty void with
Yeah,
something that's positive and uplifting. And
there's so many things you can do though to help you stay on an intention,
yeah,
journaling, even meditation, just things to help you kind of stay focused and
yeah,
centered on
I
what
mean,
you're trying to do.
there's so much. Like I said, I get my little moldavite, and it's a tiny little chunks. Like I said, they're super expensive, and I mean, it is this tiny little piece. And I hold it, and I think, okay, what are we going to do today? We're going to make big moves. We're going to, get that 2% that we need to get. We're going to do these things. And then, if I'm not feeling it, if I'm 100%, I don't feel confident in the market today, I just lost my butt. So tomorrow I'm not going to feel confident when I hop on there. And so I'm going to have to use some fake confidence where I'm going to have to get excited again. I'm going to have to go find the things I want to buy. I'm going to have to go build a fake shopping cart, to somewhere that, I'm going to remodel my house. So I'm going to get these appliances. So I'm going to like go put all these appliances in a shopping cart and get myself excited and realize how many days do I have to have positive trades before I can buy those appliances. It's not much. It's like less than a month. So
Yeah.
20 days of positive trades, and I can buy all new appliances for my house. So it's like, okay, well, 20 days, that's not bad. 20 days, I can do that.
Right.
And you
what's
do
that one action that you can take? Even just one
right.
action every day.
Just one action.
Just one.
It's just 1%. So that book I was reading this morning talked about Britain has never had, at the point this was written, Britain had never won the Tour de France, the bicycle race.
Mm-hmm.
They were like nobody, like bicycle businesses would not even give them equipment because they didn't want to be associated with losers.
Yeah, Britain's team, they've never had, it's always been Italians and Spaniards and Americans.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they hired this guy. He came in and they went through everything. They went through and they changed the seats on the bikes. They hired surgeons to come in and show them how to wash their hands so they didn't get as sick. They this talking about 1%. They went through, they dissected everything. We're going to change 1% of everything we do. They painted the inside of their vans white so they could see dust because dust took down the equipment and made the equipment not as efficient. They rubbed alcohol on the tires to make them go faster. They they tested all massage oils to see which ones had a greater improvement on their muscles. They tested out mattresses on what mattresses their athletes should be sleeping on, what pillows they should be sleeping on. And they won.
Yep.
They've won the Tour de France 7 times. They have dominated in the Olympics. And it was
even one of those things,
1% little changes.
Yeah. And even one of those things would have made a difference in their performance. But then they started go, okay, well, now we've done this thing. Now let's do one more. Now we've done this thing. Now let's do one more.
But tiny changes, tiny changes, like changing the mattress, changing the pillow. It's just little things.
And then all of those things become habits, just like you said, forming habits of, okay, being positive, or I'm taking one action today. I don't feel good, but I'm going to take one action. Today's a smaller, but that's okay. As long as you're
one step forward, as long as you're going forward. And at the end of the year, you look back, you're going to be in a complete different spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I was telling my sister last night because she was having a bad time because she had a bad day in the market the day before. And I was like, just imagine where we're going to be in 6 months. In 6 months, our goal is to hit $1 million. Like, you will be a millionaire in 6 months. So today sucks. But can you imagine where we're going to be in 180 days from now?
Yeah. And just like somebody said, if you can either move and in a year look back and you'll be in a different spot, or you can just keep doing what you're doing, and in a year you're still going to be right here.
Yep.
So
but you can take those little baby steps. And if you were trying to, bring love into your life, so now you've worked out, and when you start to do that, you start exercising, you feel good about your body, you're going to start dressing better.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to want to, because you feel good. Like right now, I finally bought myself some clothes yesterday.
I'm glad.
So I bought myself an outfit because I was like, what's really funny is if I was a millionaire, there's nothing in this drawer I would even remotely own. And I was like, there's also stuff in my shopping cart I wouldn't be buying. So I said, what would I buy? I was like, oh my God, linen pants. I love linen pants. I would buy myself a pair of linen pants and a really nice top. So I did.
Oh, that's
It
awesome.
cost the same amount of money as the crap clothes I was going to get from Walmart.
Well, there you go.
Like, come on. We don't really do this to ourselves, do we?
But you're going to feel better about yourself. when you
Yeah.
put on your fancy linen pants and
When
your
I put
fancy
on my
shirt.
fancy linen pants, it was going to cost me the exact same amount of money as the clothes I had in my cart at Walmart. So I am now wearing name brand clothing versus that clothing for the same cost. But my mindset when I built the Walmart cart was that this is what I can currently afford and this will make me feel better. However, when I went with my millionaire mindset, I got the outfit that I would be buying if I was a millionaire for the same exact price. What the fuck?
Yep. That's the
Like I was like,
universe. I think that's the universe validating that yes, you're a million, you see yourself as a millionaire, you're a millionaire. I'm going to give you those things because you've asked for them and you've finally understood that you deserve them.
but is it the matrix that makes us think that I only deserve that I can only afford Walmart?
I think that's social conditioning.
I really do. Like, I really believe that you're like, okay, well, I don't have a giant savings account. I definitely am not going to splurge on that type of money. I'm not going to buy myself those things. But then you go down there and you're paying, $40 for a pair of pants, which I got them on sale. Banana Republic, $40, but they were the same price as the jeans I was going to get at Walmart.
Yeah, and you'll
Like,
enjoy them much more.
but I don't have to. In my mind, I was thinking, well, I'm going to shop here because this is what I can afford. But I can afford Banana Republic
Yep.
because it's the same damn price.
Yeah. And
We
you
can all
deserve
afford
it.
Banana Republic.
But yeah, I mean, just like you said, in some ways, it's the same though that you don't want somebody spending $15 on your magazine. That's part of your old,
Yeah,
social construct mindset that no, I need to spend that money, or I could spend that money on groceries, or I could spend that money on whatever, because
right.
that's what we're taught.
So I'm gonna go to Walmart and I'm gonna get these clothing because I'm gonna take the rest of the money and I'm gonna put it in the stock market. So I have my budget of what I could spend on clothing. So and that was exactly what I was thinking when I built my Walmart cart. I was like, okay, this is my budget. I'm gonna spend this at Walmart and then I'll be able to put the extra into my bank account and then I'll have clothes to wear and then I can work on growing that and get, to my $1 million even quicker. Well, then I went and looked at Banana Republic because I'm like, if I'm a millionaire, what would I wear? What would I buy? Because I was using that to jazz myself up, make myself excited. And I'm like, that's the same price. I can still put money in the stock market. I was like so upset. I was like waking Brian up. I'm like, babe, look at this. We're spending money at Walmart when we don't have to. We're not.
It's true. It's true. And of course, I think sometimes it's convenience,
It's
it's
convenient because I mean
easy.
Walmart is right down the street. I can swing by, and that was my another reason I was like, oh, I'm gonna go pick those up because I'm not driving to Virginia Beach during the summertime when the tourists are here. I'll never get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. And I think sometimes, I mean, I'm working out and dieting, whatever, so I've lost a little bit of weight, not a lot, but my hope is that I'll lose more. So I always have this, well, don't buy a bunch of clothes because then, you're gonna not as you get smaller, you're gonna have to just buy more. And it's like, yeah, but I have to have something to wear.
What happened to me the other day?
Oh yeah. You
I
want to
had
tell
to
the
go.
story?
I had to go out. My washing machine. I threw all my laundry in there. I had to go. I have two outfits that I could wear because I've lost a lot of weight, and I put those outfits in the washing machine, and I had to go to my sister-in-law's house because my nephew's graduating, and all of like her family was in town, like her parents. Now these are actually my brother's in-laws, so they're not actually my in-laws, but because we live in the same state, we're very, very close. They are like family to me. When my son was born, her parents came and saw him, not my parents, but her parents came and saw my son when he was born. So we're very, very close. But I did not want to show up at her house, looking like a hobo. So my clothes are in the washer. My washing machine breaks and locks itself closed, locks it. My clothes are stuck in there and I have no time. I have no time to run to Walmart. I have no time to go grab anything. I have no time. So what I had on was a Skims bodysuit from Kim Kardashian and black yoga pants. Now, I have a very large top, like an excessively large top. I am a double H. Um, so it did not look well in a Skims bodysuit. It was not, it was not family friendly. But all my laundry, and the day before this, I had gone through my clothes and I had thrown everything out that didn't fit, that looked bad. But I was like, I'm not going to go shopping, because if I go shopping, I'm going to lose more weight. That's not going to fit right. I'm not going to waste money on myself like that. So of course I was like, I've got 2 outfits. That's what I'm going to make do. And that's it. Well, now I'm not doing that ever again. So I bought myself an outfit yesterday. That was my millionaire outfit. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start slowly, one step at a time, 1%, adding things to my life that my millionaire mind would have, which then I found out was the same cost of what was in my car at Walmart. So
Yeah. It's all what we tell ourselves. It's all what we convince
mhm.
ourselves of. And, that you can't have nice things because, I don't have that kind of money. Well,
I always joke, I'm like, I'm a peasant. I can't afford that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. My peasant me has the same budget that my Walmart budget is, the exact same thing that you can use at Nordstrom Rack or Banana Republic. And I love Free People, but I was like, I can't afford Free People. That's going to be the brand I shop when I'm rich. Well, guess what I found at Nordstrom Rack? Free People. I was like, well, that top's coming home today.
yeah. Again, I think it's just validation from the universe, though, that you have to change that mindset.
You have to change that mindset. Like, so crazy. Just
Yeah.
little baby steps.
Yeah. And
And
it's all about that intention. I mean, like you
all
said,
about
going
the
right back
intention.
to that.
You have to use the intentions when you do your magic. And that intention you use every single day until your spell's complete.
And, I think if people want to learn about, obviously, you want to keep learning. You want to learn about herbs. You want to learn about
Oh
crystals. You
yeah,
want to learn all these
most
things.
definitely.
And you can look them up, do the research, whatever. But I agree with you, though, that I find if you're drawn to something, that's probably what you're supposed to use.
Right? Like pennyroyal. That would be so fun to use
Yes.
in a money spell. Penny and royal. I mean,
Feels kind of perfect.
doesn't it? I don't even know what the property is of pennyroyal, like off the top of my head. I would have to look it up. So I don't even know if that would, that the witch police could come and put me in jail. But um it sounds amazing. And I probably am going to make a charm bag for that, because I think it sounds super
I was just
cute.
thinking I need to go see what that is because
Right.
I'm going to
I'm going
check
to
it
make a
out
charm
now.
bag with some pennyroyal and some silver coins, because silver, gold and silver, and then a pyrite, because pyrite's gold and I love pyrite.
Well, in Pyrite, isn't it is that the prophecy stone? No,
No,
that's a
that's,
different one.
yeah,
So I
I
know
don't know.
there's one I have one they call it a prophecy stone and it's gold. The color of it's kind of gold and green.
Mm,
And so I'm like, I mean, and that's your future. That's
right?
so
So
yeah.
go with what feels right. Go with what makes, when you're looking at something, what it means to you. It's not what it means to me or what it means to Heather. It's what it means to you. So if you're trying to do a love spell, and of course you want to do one which makes you more attractive to other people, which makes you happier, makes you more, has increase your energy levels. You want to do things for yourself, not to be like, oh, you know what? David down the street's going to be my husband, even though I think I did that with my husband, but I mean, it wasn't intentional.
Yeah,
I
if
was
you don't want to
14. It
cast
wasn't like,
spells, you're not
right.
making somebody fall in love with you. That's not what you're doing.
No. But okay, so what I did with my husband when I first met him, he, yeah, he's a lot older than me. I was 14, he was 24. My stepdad worked at the state park, and he had just started working there as a park ranger. And I had gone in there to take, my grandma had a bakery, and I had gone in there to take the leftover stuff out of the bakery to take into the guys at the park because they were friends. My dad worked in there. And so he was like, yeah, bring the stuff down. The boys will eat all that stuff. So we had, my grandparents, they had new food out every morning. So anything we didn't sell, we would give away to somebody. So we took them, and I took this big box of like sweet rolls and cookies and brownies to the office. And I was up on a ladder because my stepdad's like, hey, can you dust this office while you're in here? And I was like, okay, whatever. So I'm dusting. And as I stepped off the ladder, Brian walked around the corner and we like smacked into each other like this. And then I was like, oh my God, he's gorgeous. It's like, I went home and I had one of his pictures that he was in the newspaper a lot. He's like really photogenic. Like I said, he's very good. He's very handsome. So he's always like, anytime the reporters would come, they would be like, okay, Brian, you go talk to them. So he was always in the newspaper. So I had a picture of him on the newspaper. I had a picture of his truck. I had his birthday and I had wrote these things on my wall and I stuck them on there. Like, I don't know what kind of like crazy freak I was, but I like stuck them up there. And I'm just like, at the time, I knew I was 14. I knew he was 24. I knew that wasn't going to be my boyfriend, but I was just like, I love that man right there.
Yep.
And
Someday we'll make it happen when it's not illegal.
but I did not even think that there would be like, I was just, oh my God, he's gorgeous. And that went on my wall as like some kind of like weird stalker thing. Um
Does he know this? Does he know about this?
I don't know because he told me, he's like, I knew when I saw you, he's like, I knew that we would be together. And I was like, you're gross.
I was a child.
I was a baby. But when I was 18, we officially started dating.
Oh my gosh, that is so sweet though. He was like your Sean Cassidy.
I know. It was so funny because we were talking about TikTok and they were talking about your teen who is your teen crush and who did you end up marrying? And I was like, look, babe, it was my teen crush and look who I married.
That is so awesome. That's perfect. You were more powerful than you knew. Look at that.
Right?
Finding you a guy at 14.
14. I know I tell my sister that all the time. I was like, well, we didn't get married right away because, I wanted to play hard to get. My sister's like, oh my God.
I love that though. I didn't know that. That's pretty fun.
Yeah. He was like really good friends with my stepdad and come to my house every weekend and play pool because my stepdad was a pool shark. So
Oh.
we had this huge professional pool table in our house. So then of course there was this gorgeous guy there playing every night and then I would like just kind of like weasel my way into the room to watch him play.
I wouldn't tell him about the stalker wall. I wouldn't. I don't
I
know if
know
I would bring
because
that up.
he knows now kind of, how powerful I am. And he's like, you did put a spell on me. Like Heather, I'm not even allowed to look him in his eyes because he's afraid I'm going to hypnotize him and make him like to do the dishes. So like there's no eye contact. He won't make eye contact with me because he's like, no, you're going to hypnotize me.
Oh my gosh. Okay, girls, this is when you know you're powerful, when your man won't even look you in the eyes.
He won't even look you in the eye because he's like, no, you'll make me like doing dishes. That's his fear. His fear is that he might like doing dishes.
Oh my gosh. That is funny. Just housework in general. I think you should work on that. Just that he
Right?
would enjoy housework in general.
Like,
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
funny. But
That's perfect.
so funny. But I am a firm believer in intention setting. Like I said, I set the intention that one day that would be my man.
Yeah. And I mean,
And
the universe listens,
yeah,
what you're saying to yourself and the intentions that you set, that tends to be what comes back to you. So I think you have to be mindful of that. You have to be careful of that.
yeah, definitely. Dog is like, I'm gonna stay right here and make so much noise.
Oh, your dog's
Right under my feet.
just coming
But
to visit us.
yeah, I definitely with the intention, and there doesn't have to be so many steps to your spells. They don't have to look a certain way. It's there because you need a physical reminder of um what's what you're setting your intentions for and what little steps you're gonna take every day
Yeah.
to make your spell come to fruition.
Yeah. The spell itself may not even be as important as the rest of it.
Yeah, it's not as important. It is literally the physical reminder of the intentions you're going to take every day.
Well, and like you said, or I think we said this before, that those those physical steps that you take also It's almost like the journaling and the things like that.
Yeah.
It's making that physical motions and what all, and putting that with your intentions makes a big difference.
It does. And we've all had spells that did nothing. Like we've all like, I mean, I could name a bunch that I've done and they like didn't even get off the ground.
Oh
But that's
yeah.
because I I made a little jar and then didn't do anything with it. One of my favorite ones I've ever done was I took an apple and
Okay.
I said, I'm going to ask that, forget what goddess it was, but I wanted her to enchant the apple and come with me through the day and help me, like give me guidance, give me, inspiration. I had the most powerful experience with an apple. And of course, I had to run errands, and here I am carrying my apple everywhere. And then one of the errands was to pick my husband up from work. And then we're in the car, and I was like, I've been waiting for you for like 3 hours. I'm so hungry. Can we go get dinner? And he's like, eat your apple. Apple,
No, that's not what the apple's for.
goddess in my apple.
Can't do that. It's not a snack.
But it was the most powerful experience. Like, because I set the intention that this apple was enchanted with this goddess energy. And I would ask the apple, and I would feel like this energy coming from the apple. And it was like, I have really bad road rage. And I had the apple on my dash. And then I like all of a sudden I was just like, no, you don't need to. Where are we going? What's the why are we racing? Just because we have a sports car and it goes vroom vroom doesn't mean we need to like speed there and cuss everyone out because they don't want to speed where they're going.
Oh, that's unfortunate. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Exactly. Like but I did. And so I had like this peaceful ride where I wasn't cussing anyone out. I turned into ludicrous.
Yeah, I'm pretty I got a pretty bad potty mouth when I'm driving.
Yeah, but my apple made it so that we had just a peaceful ride. Oh, another one I love is the Dalmatian Jasper. That crystal makes you bring out your childhood like personality.
Aw.
I have a vent clip with the Dalmatian Jasper, and it is in our car. And we now take car rides where we used to sit and argue with each other. Like he would be like, give me the direction. And I'll be like, oh my gosh, you don't, we'd fight over, all that stuff. Now we sit in there and we just laugh and joke when we're in the car. And I'm like,
Oh,
I
that's awesome.
never take out that transfer.
Yeah. It changes the
Everyone who gets
energy.
in the car, everyone who gets in the car is just happy and laughing. And that's because I set the intention that we would have childlike behavior when we were in the car.
Yeah. That's really powerful though. You're what you say to yourself and those intentions that you set, they make all the difference in the world.
It's what does it. That's where the power in your spell will come from, is from your intentions.
Yeah.
And it can be anything. You could use a coloring book, color a picture and set the intentions that whatever you want. I'm going to become a millionaire, and color yourself a picture and put all the emotion into that, and then it'll be like that
Yeah. Once you take the action.
once you take the actions.
Yeah. I mean, because I guess that's something too. I'm not sure that people always understand too. There's times when you can't just necessarily put an intention out there and then, $1 million just going to drop in your lap.
No,
There may be times you can manifest and do some things like that, but it, it seems like even when you manifest something that often there's an action involved,
there's
you know?
action involved, right? I mean, like we did get an inheritance from a rich uncle who died yesterday. But that wasn't because of, we are now in a mindset where our money makes money. And that's what
Yeah.
we keep saying is money makes money.
Yeah.
Um, and we're living that way. We're living that way is our money makes money. When we have extra money, it gets invested. We don't let it sit in our bank account anymore. And it's like money makes money. And the rich don't invest their own money. They, Vanguard, BlackRock, all of them, they have our money. They made their money off our 401ks.
Yeah.
And then they use that money to buy leading stocks in everything. And then they manipulate us through that with our own money.
Yeah. Fun times.
So it's our money. And so you look at it, money makes money, money makes money. And we just keep saying that in our house. And it's like our new saying. And
I think
lo
that's
and
brilliant.
behold, yesterday we got a check.
That is brilliant. That is
So
awesome. Okay, so I guess in summary,
your intentions and set your intentions for what you want and take tiny baby steps every single day. Just like the Britons with the bike race, one little change every single day. Forward your action until your spell is complete.
and don't get hung up on the spell. Do what
And
you're drawn to.
yeah, don't get hung up on rules. Again, there's no witch police. I mean, you might find them in groups. They think they're the witch police.
Yeah, but there's really not. It's all everybody's journey, I think.
Yeah.
That is awesome. This is great information.
Well,
I'm so glad you wanted to do this. This is
oh
cool.
my gosh. I've been on such a rant on this, so I'm like so glad that I got to be able to come on here and do this because I hate it when people ask me, what do I do? Like, what does your soul tell you? That's what you do.
Follow your instincts. Always
Follow your instincts and do it just like that because we all know, our soul knows. The reason that you are a witch is because, or you identify as a witch is because you have that internal ability to know in your intuition.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. Was there anything else you want to share with people? We'll put your information of how to find you and whatnot in the
definitely
show notes. So,
and I want to actually start a millionaire mindset group. I haven't decided how I'm going to do that, but I definitely want people to all leave the matrix with me. Like, I just want to take everyone with me.
I would like to join you. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Be on the lookout for that. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I do want to start a millionaire mindset where I'm just like, okay, look, none of us have to shop at Walmart.
That would be amazing. Give people some of your stock market tips and
how to set intentions, and we'll all like just use it as like literally a mindset meeting.
We're gonna be the millionaire witches.
Oh my gosh,
like a millionaire witches coven.
Could you imagine? That would be like so cool. I want to see that movie.
That would be awesome. That would be very awesome.
Well, thank you. I had so much fun.
Me too. And we will see everybody next time.
Bye.
Okay. Thanks so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to like and rate and follow and do all the things for our podcast. Those things really do help us out. Links and other important things that you would need to know are in the show notes, so make sure to check those out. If you have ideas of topics you'd like to hear about or questions you want us to answer, drop those on the Ballyhoo Bridge Facebook page or on IG at ballyhoo_bridge. If you're looking for guidance in your journey, head over to ballyhoobridge.com. There you can choose a time for a free 30-minute clarity call with me. In the meantime, take care of yourself and spread your light to the world. Until next time.